Okay. Hey everyone. Sorry, I was just checking OPS to make sure it's working. Hey everyone, today we're going to do a video on another parametric precedent on the Serpentine Pavilion. This is what it looks like. So, a few things I want to mention for this precedent. It's not super hard. It's actually really easy in concept, but it's just it requires a little bit of just freehand knowledge, I guess, and a lot of listing issues with this that I have. I've already modeled it before, so I know what to expect from this and how to do this. So the way I'll walk you through how I approached it even before I finished modeling or I actually did it. The way I approached it was I had one singular plane. So if we just look at the geometry, we can see there's a pattern to it, right? It's like almost a cull pattern, as you can see, where it's like 1 0 1 0 1 0 kind of thing. So like it's kind of like checkerboard patterned on both sides. So what we can do, actually, you can see that it's smaller here, the lengthwise, and then it's really long here. So basically, we're going to use the same exact attractor point. As you can tell, this is a attractor point, but we're going to use the exact same attractor point for where we do the attractor point for the extrusion, and also the attractor point for the movement as well. Not necessarily be the same numbers, but it'll be the same point that we're going to base off of. So we're going to have this, and then this. So yeah, let's model it. It's not, I don't think it's too difficult when I modeled it, so let's try now. Let's do it again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line. Now, one warning. So if you're going to model it based off of an axis, you're going to want to use X or Y. It depends which way your line. If your line is facing this way, and then you're going to use Y. If your line's facing this way, you want to use the unit X. If your line is at an angle, which is what I will be doing, you need to have it you need to create the normal for it. So you need to create the perpendicular normal or the normal for this curve. And I'll show you how to do that, because that's a little bit more advanced than just doing it on the x-axis. It's super easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with referencing that curve. That's the easiest way to do it, I think. So I'm going to reference it. I'm going to put it in the corner. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to extrude that curve. So I want this in the z direction. I'm going to put this in perspective real quick. Let me zoom select and zoom out. There we go. Unit z and 12. I'm just going to put in 12. I'm going to make it a little taller than that, so 84. Cool. Numbers are a little arbitrary, except for one part, which I'll show you. So now what we're going to do, we're going to divide this surface up to get those points, and these points will represent the rectangles, or these squares here. So what we're going to do now is just do a rectangle. Now, if we just put in the rectangle now, it's going to give us this, which doesn't really help us. So what we're going to do is going to add a plane normal. We ask for the origin and the z-axis. So our z-axis, so it's asking basically what is our quote-unquote z-axis, which will be the normals here, and the origin, which will be these points. Cool. And I'm going to flatten these. Oh, no, it's already flatten these. And then now I'm going to use this plane, and plug it into here. That will draw me the rectangle. But as you can see, the problem is that we now have this drawn out, but they're not like touching each other. So the way we're going to do that, excuse me. So the way we're going to do that is actually find the dimensions for these kind of points. So the easiest way to do that, in my opinion, will be to I'm going to flatten this first. And then we're going to do a flip tricks. Actually, I won't show you guys that yet. I'm going to I want to walk you through, guys, what I'm thinking before I did the flip matrix. So I'm going to do a list item. Also, sorry, I'm a bit under the weather, so yeah, I'm not feeling too well. So what we're going to do is we have these 2 points, and we're going to take the distance of this. So we can literally just plug in both these points. Doesn't matter which order, and it'll give us a number. Doesn't really matter what this number is, 7.354606. Okay, doesn't really matter what that number is. It's just that we have it. So we know the distance between those 2 points. So what we can do is we can do a division, and we can actually divide that by 2, because remember, we're measuring this point from this point, but we only want from this point to the midpoint here, because we want the rectangles to be tangent. So we're going to go here. I'm going to put in a panel. You can put in a number slider here, that's 2. But if the number I know is going to be fixed forever, like I never want it to be changed, actually, then I'm going to just use a panel. So we have 2, and then now I know that just judging based off these panels, this is the x direction. So I'm going to plug this into x just to prove. You can do a 50-50 as well and just plug them in and see what happens. Okay, so what we can do is we can do a so with rectangles, you have to do a construct domain, always, if you want the negative and the positive. So we're going to do negative. I'm going to plug this in here, and then here, and here. Let's see what this does. As you can see now, they are tangent with each other. Now, the reason why I have to do a construct domain is when we do a rectangle, when you say x size, let's say we give a number 5. 5 is positive, so it's going to go from 0 to 5. Which is not right, because the 0 is this origin, so it's going from 0 to 5 instead of what we want it to be kind of proportional. So, ooh, I'm sliding. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we have to do, let's see, we have the x now. So now all I need to do is do the y direction. So how are we going to do that? So we can do a flip matrix like I was about to do before. We need to flip the matrix because right now it's the order of the list, I think, is reading this way, like up, down, or up this way. We need to read, it's reading vertical, we need to read horizontal. So I think a flip matrix will solve that. And we can flatten this as well. And then now we can literally just do the exact same thing this is doing. So I'm going to type it back out. I could copy and paste this, but I'm not going to, just to show you guys and reiterate the points. List item. You can add this toggle, so it'll give you the list item from, it'll start at 0 and then 1. Then we can do a distance, and plug these in, and now we can use the division that we did here. We're now going to use 2, and we need another constructor. And we're going to plug this into y. Plug this in, get a negative value, and then a positive. And that should give us rectangles. Sweet. Or perfectly tangent, yeah, rectangles, yeah. Because they are different measurements, 7.3 feet and 8.4. I'm just going to keep these as reference. I'll put it above here, and put it above here. And what I'm going to do now is plug, I'm going to group these. If you guys are into organizing. Oh, I forgot to group this with here, but oh well. I can ungroup and highlight this all. Control-Alt, regroup. I'm not going over too many points in this tutorial because this is a tutorial for the Serpentine Pavilion. I assume that you know how to use Grasshopper already to an extent, so I'm just showing you the kind of workflow and process that I did. So I'm not going to reiterate every single thing. I'm not going to go over what a construct domain is or what a extrude is. I mean, it's pretty obvious. So yeah, wow, I'm losing my voice. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to add more here. So you'll see when we change the outcome here, we'll have a perfectly extruded, not extruded, but perfectly always tangent with each other, as you can see. I'm going to lower that number. For right now, we're going to stick it at 10, but I'll change that later when we start to model everything else. So now that we have our rectangles, what we need to do now is start to extrude these rectangles out. So these extrusions will be based off of these rectangles and these vectors that we chose, which will be here. So what you can do now is do extrude. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up the attractor point again. If you don't know what I'm talking about with the attractor point, you can go look at my tutorial for attractor points. It's on my channel. So you can look that up. So I'm going to set up an amplitude here. And I'm going to plug in the vector, which in this case will be here. I'm going to flatten this immediately. Okay, and then amplitude will be the kind of numbers. So what we can do is do a remap. Map bounds closest point. And then we're going to do a again, if you don't know what any of this is, I highly recommend looking at my attractor point tutorial where I go a lot more in depth on what these actually do. I'm only breezing through them because you should know kind of what an attractor point script looks like anyways. So type in point. So we have point in cloud, plug in the point here. And actually what we're going to do, something I see here. So what we're going to do is actually, I just realized, so if we look at this now, we can see that only half of them are being extruded, because remember this is a checkerboard pattern. So we only need this checkerboard pattern to be extruded. So we're going to do this side first. We're going to do this side first where it's this giant kind of bump or hill. We're going to kind of use that first. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to only extrude half of them, or only those checkerboard parts, and then we're going to extrude the other side of these checkerboard parts here too. So instead of using this, we can do extrude. What we can do a cull pattern. Plug that panel here. A checkerboard pattern 1, 0. Uncheck multi-line data and plug this in. Okay, and we're going to use this. So as you can see, from here to here. That's hard to tell the difference, but it is working. As you can see, it's a checkerboard pattern right now. See that rectangle's not highlighted, that one's not highlighted. And we're going to plug this in here. And well, these have, I mean, okay, 121, this is reading 61. So, so you could, another thing you could do, just to be kind of clear on these, I can actually just find this, I don't know why I did it before. Plug in the call pattern into the, here, that should read 61, yep. Let's see, we can prove this works by using this. Okay, cool. So it is checkerboard. So we can actually plug this into normals directly. That's our vector. And we're going to now plug, now we need area, area, centroid, centroid here. And we're going to plug in our point. So we're going to make point, highlight, set one point here. We're going to turn off plane normals. So you see it's working. We just need to plug in, let's say, 8. Cool. Okay, so as you can see, we want it to extrude this way, but right now it's extruding the other way. So what we can do is do reverse, and we can reverse that vector. This is plugged into this. So we can reverse this, and now extrude the other way. Nice, okay, cool. But we want more of a definition here. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to lower this count just in case. Last time I did this, it crashed. We're going to lower, one more thing. When you do a checkerboard pattern, it always has to be an even number. So it'll work. So what you do is with your sliders, when you start to mess with the divisions, it needs to be even. Okay. So what we can do now is start to let me think. What we can do, this one's a little difficult because I can't think of how I would, okay, so what we can do is graph mapper. Okay, sorry, I'm just not feeling too well. Bounds here, right click, we can change our graph type to a Gaussian curve. And what we can do is start to kind of manipulate this. We can try 10. Now this changes the bounds of it, so how much area it will affect. So it will affect like a 10 by 10 area. We're going to plug 8 into here and disconnect this. Okay, you can see it's starting to work. I'm going to save just in case this crashes so I can restart it. As you see, I've already done it before. Right here, GH2, B3. Okay, so let's try 20. What the heck? Okay, we can plug in 2 into this. This is not too messed up. And we're going to add a little bit more. Oh, I know that works. Okay, cool. Alright, so 16 by 16. Okay, I'm probably going to let me just mess with this graph a little more. Okay. Okay, I'm probably going to change this over here. I'm going to make this range 100. Now here's where kind of the tinkering comes in. I just got to play with it a little bit. I'm going to change this number to 20 and see what that looks like. Okay, it's not horrible. And we're going to change this number here to 22. Just maybe a little bit more definition is needed. Okay. Alright, so that looks, this one's really very prominent, so I'm going to make that extremely prominent. So we're going to change this to, so what I'm thinking is, it looks a lot longer here because it's moved as well. It's also extruded and moved. So I'm going to keep it like this right now, and then we can play with it, the final results after that. So I'm going to keep it like this. So what we're going to do now is change the, what we're going to do now is do the other side now. So we just need to remove all this here. I always end up moving my scripts up here. Might as well just move the whole thing down. Don't know why I always do this. It's just modeling habit. So we can do another call paddling, and this time we're not going to plug it straight to here. We're going to reverse that list. I always just reverse the list, so if I do change it any time, it'll always be constant. It'll just automatically do it for me. So rectangle, same thing, and then we're going to do a call paddle with the vectors as well. I don't think technically you need to do this. I don't think so, but I do it just to make the script a bit neater. Okay. Take the area, and we're going to hide this real quick, and we're going to do area, and then we're just going to do the same exact thing we did here. So I will extrude. Map numbers. Mapped bounds construct domain, and then what is it called? After construct domain. Sorry, I'm not. Let's see, I'm at 6. I'm my A game right now. And then point. And then the other point, we're just going to go in top view and place it real quick somewhere here. And then we can do select multiple points. The base now will be here. Let's see what it does. Okay, we get a red. Copy extruded because we have one of our amplitudes at 0. So I'm going to kind of mimic these same numbers. I'm also going to put in the same graph mapper. So I'm going to try to use the same definition. I may not end up using what is, but it's a good base to work off of. So I copy and pasted the articulated graph mapper we have. So here, and the numbers is 2 and 20. So just type that in. I may want to tweak it a little bit. It's not going to be the exact, of course. Let's see. It's semi-subtle. It's not as high up. So we can change these bounds to like something like 30. And then we can lower this number. This is point. So we're going to move this out a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to. Actually, that looks pretty good. So we're going to keep that for right now. Cool. So now that we have that, we can save. Once we have this, we can just check out both of them just side by side. As you can see, looks pretty good so far. Now we just need to move it. So what we can do is move, and we can do a tractor point for here as well. So we're going to move them based off of the same vectors that we already have. So it's literally the exact same thing again, just with movement. So we can actually, in this case, we can just copy this because it seems a little redundant. Actually, let me think. Yes, so we can copy this exactly. You want to copy it so you have the exact articulation. So we can CD. We just need to plug in the geometry. So you can see, whoa, hold on there, buckaroo. Okay. Actually, that doesn't look too bad. So what we can do, we don't need this number to be 20, it can be like 15 or something. Nothing too insane, because you see these extrusions are already kind of showing the movement of that. And then now we can do the same thing for this. Here. Move. Then plug this into here. Points look kind of, the point looks so weird. I think it's supposed to be lower. Yeah, something. Okay, so this is going to be on the ground. I'm going to probably expand my graph mapper a little bit on this end. probably do a 30 as well. X, Y. Probably Y, we're going to change to 45. Okay, let's change this to 30 again. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. So we can do a move. Okay. Let's turn all this off. Keep this here. And let's check out what we got. So now we can tweak around the points a little bit. We can just kind of move it around, see what will look better. In this case, those are pretty well. They have a different pattern. So as you can see, theirs is like this, but mine is inverted, so it has this right here. So we can change that. We can just change this to 0, 1. There we go. Nice. Cool. So what we can do now is, it's a little bit hard to read all this, so turn all this off. So now we're just left with our geometry. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to actually take these and one thing that's missing here, I can just see this gap. In the Serpentine Pavilion, there is no gap. You can see it's perfectly flush with each other on the very top, and it starts to separate out. That's what makes it really nice. So, one thing I realized is for one of these, we need to move back whatever dimension this is. So in this case, if we keep it at 0, that's extruding out 2 though. So we just need to move back 2. So we can just take a move, scale for 2. We just need to shift the entire geometry. We're going to use this. And then put 2. Okay, that moves it forward. So let's reverse that. What the bummer. Is it 6? Huh? Let me look at this real quick. Why is it 6? Interesting. Let me look at my numbers here. 2, 2. Oh, so what I did was I extruded it, moved 2, and I moved to the I extrude then move. Okay. Okay, that makes some sense. Okay, so what we can do here is you can either use this one. This is the positive one. Looks a little easier to manipulate without negatives. So let's try this. Disconnect. Oh, this is boring. I can't think. It's not boring. Why did I say it's boring? Okay, never mind. I'm going insane. I guess I'm just too sick or something. Here, plug that in here. Okay. Okay, cool. So we can plug that in here. Try this. Let's see what this does. We unhide this. It does 6. Let me think why it would be 6. Let me look at those two here. So this distance from this line to here. Let me look at the normal geometry real quick before I do anything. These two extrudes. Okay, so because I have to move that extra distance of the extruded, so that's why it's 6. Okay, that makes some sense. Okay, that makes sense. So what I can do to move, so 2, 4, and then I move the extra 2, so it's 6. So it's these plus this plus whatever distance I move it at, so it'll be another 2. So it's just addition of like all of these things, I think, and addition. Let's prove that. I don't know if that's true. Just that's a hypothesis, so I can do the addition. So 2 plus 2 plus. This is also 2 though, so I'm a little confused why it's 6. Let me think. So I moved it 2 there, and moved it 2 there. Well, it'd still be, yeah, it'd still be 6. I think I can plug in both of these to here. I think the minimums can be plugged in, so let's try that. Let's see. I need to add another addition into here. So it should be 6, right? Yep. Now let's. Why are there so many flies here? What the heck? 2. So let's plug that into here. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to take off my shoes. Okay. Let's prove this real quick. Okay. Okay, so I change the movement here. Well, yeah, I'll always move. I'm trying to make it so it's parametric, so I don't have to change it. Let me think about this. So the way I'm thinking about it right now is this: there's this gap created right now that adds up to 4. Well, adds up to total of. All right, sorry about that sound. It's someone else working. I'm at school right now. If I want the minimums to be the same, they can be plugged into the same geometry here. Let me turn on these extrudes. So as you can see, they're perfectly flush with each other. They're not intersecting this way because I extruded that way. That makes sense. Or would I move them ahead of time? So would I do the move and then start to, because they are supposed to. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so let's try that. I'm gonna delete that. I could have copy and pasted, but yeah, it's too much work. So it's easier to just type it all out. So move, amplitude, vector will be placed into here. I'm lost. Let's say 2. Okay. Okay. And then I can plug in to this geo. Interesting. Alright. And I get to enter these into 0. Yeah, okay, there we go. That looks a lot better. So, one thing I want to change though is this kind of area effect. It's not really affecting the kind of area I want it to in terms of movement. So, I'm going to put these numbers up pretty high now. I'm 0 to 40. Okay, let's seem to do it. Change this back. 1 second. Do I need this many blocks? Okay, so let me look at the pavilion again. So, it has this right here. Maybe this movement's pretty severe. So if I change this to like 10. Yeah, 10 would be. So if I increase this number to 40 again, and then and decreases movement by a lot. Still has that. Supposed to go out a decent amount, I think. So I can do 25. Let's try. Let's just try playing around with the numbers now. Seems pretty tall. Do I need it that tall? I guess scale-wise, maybe it doesn't need to be that tall. Yeah. Let's try 50. Yeah, that looks a little better. That looks a lot more prominent. That looks a lot more like it. Okay. And this, I don't think the extrusion needs to be that long. Just looking at that. So we can go back to, I think, this one. Actually, what I can do to make it a little easier to see, I turn these off and turn preview on. So custom preview, I can plug in here and just see what it looks like. I can go to rendered view. Just kind of visualize what it'll look like. You can see we're having that little movement effect, same thing that this is having. Maybe this one uses a different graph, but I always have luck with Gaussian when I do this. I feel like there's supposed to be a slight gap anyways here. I don't think it's supposed to be straight to 0. Let's try one. One is like the minimum though. I think 0 is fine, but we need to maybe the extrusion's not long enough, so let's change this to 20. I don't know which one this one is. Yeah, okay, so 25. Or maybe, turn this back to 20, then change the minimums to 3. This needs to be a little less long, so I can do 15. Or 10, so it still looks too long. Okay, that looks a lot better. And then let me look at the pavilion. Looks like there's a walkway that kind of matches that curvature. So a way through this, we need to, I'm assuming that it wraps around and kind of moves it back here. Maybe there's more pictures I can look at. Yes, so this is a good, that's what I thought it would look like. Okay, cool. So we need another point right here, and that looks really cool. Wow, I didn't know this precedent could look that cool. Now we just need to move this out. Great. Okay, so we have one more attractor point we can use somewhere here. Okay. So this could actually, I just thought about it. Does this have to be Gaussian? Maybe. This could be sine curve, actually, now I think about it. If I just do a sine function. Well, not this one. Oops, wrong one. And then we do graph types, Gaussian again. Okay, wrong one. This top one we can do. We can do a sine function here. Okay, let me try one more thing. It could be either a sine curve. We could do, oh, that looks pretty cool. What we can do, we really like this definition. Okay, let's put back a little bit. We can do okay. This extrusion looks a little long. Dang it. Let's take it 10. Yeah, it looks better. What we can do is, instead of, wow, this looks a bit shaky right here. Huh. Thinking. So, this is extrusion. This is perfect. It should be perfectly flush on top. Let me think about this, because it's not, I honestly don't even think 30 is. Let me think about this. So, having trouble with it not being flush here. If I want to do another one of these, that's not that bad. Because all I have to do is make a point here and use as a multi-attractor point. So I can just do another point here, shade it. Let me turn this back. I'm going to delete this real quick. And I can add another point. Then look at what this does. Alright, and now let's turn that preview on again. I'm curious what this looks like actually, or what the actual value is, so I'm going to bake this real quick. Sometimes you can bake it to actually see the true dimension of some things. So like what I'm going to do now, since I'm a little stumped on why this has a gap, I'm going to do a distance real quick and check to see if my numbers are correct. So it's almost a quarter inch off. Now, of course, this model right here is not to scale the actual Serpentine Pavilion. I'm just showing the conceptual parts of how it was modeled. So as you can see, this moves here. This looks like it wasn't moved. Oh, because I forgot to add that point. Gotcha. Alright, so open up Grasshopper. And I forgot to add this point into here. I don't know why this looks like that. I think we should just do that. That's for simplicity. There we go. Alright, that looks a lot better. And now, oh, now it's flush. Okay, buddy. Whatever. Okay. Here it's not flush. Here it is. It's basically flush. But here it's not. That's why I'm really confused. Here is 30. I did the movements a little different. I'll change this back to 20. I actually liked 30. Okay, that's fine if that's not flush. I'm perfectly okay with that. What I'm going to do, I like how this looks right now, so what I'm going to do is 1, save, and 2, add more division. So I'm going to do 16, I'm going to do 20, see what that looks like. Let's try 30 actually, let's try 24 actually. Okay. So we're getting a lot more kind of pixelated definition. This looks really nice, actually. Okay, cool. Awesome. So, it's really nice, actually. Okay. Cool, awesome. So this is basically the masking for it. There is structure involved in this parametrically as well. So let me find, I don't know if there's a good picture of it. I did have it before. It was a really nice picture of it. Very close detail. This is the construction of it. Pavilion, yeah, as you can see, it's just a bunch of blocks. There is structure. This is like these little panels, or these little brackets that hold it in place here. They're basically metal. They just kind of brace in between these. So we can do that as well, but that'll be definitely in another video. So this is just the massing portion of it. So yeah, I think that would be pretty much it. Let me just render this. Awesome, and that would be really cool. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this tutorial. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a great day. And yeah, I finished the script basically. So it's a little bit of hiccups here and there, but one thing we can do to optimize the script, let's just use the same kind of points. So if we do change the points, we can. One thing I really like about, also I'd use this curve. So one thing we can do is we can always kind of rotate this around, and it'll always, should, according to theory, work. So we can do, actually, hold on, I did this wrong, 1 second. So what we can do is I highlight everything, and the way I modeled it, you can kind of rotate it, and it should, well, should work. As you can see, nothing's really changed geometrically once I keep rotating it. So, yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys later. Bye.